Warning, this program may contain visuals that might offend sensitive viewers. Parental guidance is advised.
Our country is currently facing an electricity crisis, and we are losing a lot of money through illegal connections. Today, we show you a serious case of such an offender.
One reason. But harbu botse gore sente go etsagala mara mthako wa kolota system ka kwa e bontsha gore sa kolota tšhelete ngata.
What's your name? Go get the people. What's your name? What is your name? What is your name? This woman here is creating problems. She sabotaged my business.
Don't fight, guys.
I'll break her now. No, she's got no right to fucking be here. No right.
In last week's episode, we met a group of tenants that were complaining about their landlord. They took the matter to the Gauteng Housing Tribunal and sadly had to face the consequences thereafter. Gates to the premises that they are renting were locked.
No Shelly, Jacob, Yvonne, but the Department of Housing. So at La Rona.
Who's going to talk to us and tell us why are these guys being evicted? Is it you or it's going to be your boss?
I don't know. My boss just gave me the authority to tell them to go get what they need and leave. Having illegal meetings without the boss's consent. Going to housing department without his knowledge. He's the owner as far as I'm concerned. So I have nothing to say further to you guys.
We're not evicting them, okay?
Yes,
we've locked the door.
Even though darkness had fallen, and as tense and unsafe as the situation was, we still continued with the work we came to do. Police were called to intervene. However, there was no success in getting the tenants back to their rooms. The manner in which they are being evicted has surely affected their dignity and has caused a gross inconvenience on their lives, in that there was no alternative and immediate available shelter at the occupant's disposal. Contingency arrangements for shelter had to be made with the members of SAPS for overnight accommodation. The landlord has since appeared in front of the Gauteng Housing Rental Tribunal. As promised, the rental tribunal went to Gregg's property for inspections. When going to air, they had not released their findings. The tenants further alleged that the landlord has illegally connected electricity and water. City Power was alerted of these claims and we followed the raid. All hell broke loose. Illegal connections are costing the country billions of rands annually. As Cutting Edge, we had to investigate if the tenants' claims were true. Tenants at Gregg Michaels' house called Cutting Edge, complaining about their living conditions. They had issues with the lack of maintenance at the house, and they later claimed that the landlord doesn't pay for water and electricity.
Are ene ga ka tshone go fixa seo ke mara ka o tshwantse gore ga o tla go tima motlakase o bo mpolela gore switcha dilo nka se ke ka tsama ke switchile dilo ka gore bana nka se ke ba ka ba letla gore ba ye go solonga ke kwa ko plekeng ka re ba tlo go so ke future of TV ya ka e tshele mara go na le batho ba le gore ba bankanyetse ding so rena ba bang ha re bankanyetsa ke tsuru why ba patele motlakase ha patele metsi
They are coming here because of one reason. What to check a boxer? Boxer which yet? How about that? No, what's very baby? That big thing of kata. How about Walena? How about disappear for the Har people go to Sinta with Hanamara and Taco Apollo. System Nagua, one sorry. Sakol the Cheletinga. Look at this. It's got 23 years. Power very exciting. How big is it? But it is a normal box. It's one of the next door. So how can this house keep up the mtakas like the neighbors start? If it's such a mtakas.
ene bothata ba gagwe o rata go bua gore o na le tšhelete o na le diloyara le ga re ka etsa eng kapa eng le ga re ka ya kae kapa kae
ya mapodisa morodi
ene be ke tsone na re kgone go thusiwa nou yana
re thusiwa
re iseng gore ba o ba braipile
ba re ke mamshimano wa tribunal
go tšwa go khoto
o bua ka mashilo a mashilo ke ena
police station bona re thusiwa ara thusiwa next go tšwa gore o bua nnete a rona le tšhelete sa ke wa bribe o dula a bribe and e fele gore o bua ka notice e re feeling and e feel bone December o mo e feeling bad be ile ba re ha e sa sebetsa ka go nta tsa tšhelete ya rona.
Claims of taking bribes by officials could not be confirmed. The landlord in question has about 5 houses that he is renting out in Roodepoort. And we were reliably informed that electricity in all these properties has been breached. City Power was alerted and they conducted a raid. We followed as they go through with the raid. About 3 properties that belong to Gregg Michaels were raided, and this is what was discovered. House number 1 in Newlands, City Power discovered that the other portion of the house is supplied with tampered electricity.
So they breached 1 meter.
No. They tapped on the supply of City Power. They tapped on it, and then they are supplying the other portion.
After cutting off the electricity supply in the house, City Power was shocked that some part of the house was still lit. It was discovered that the electricity was illegally connected from 2 different street poles. House number 2 in Roodepoort was also disconnected due to illegal connections.
Because my meeting at 7, then how do they get electricity?
Yeah, maybe
Forget this direct.
The 3-phase marriage, we breach it.
That's why I move because connection in corner is direct.
Again, the second house was connected from the street poles. House number 3, also in Roodepoort, an electricity meter that is not registered to this property was found.
Then 805.
Yeah, you want to meet a number.
Yeah.
I account number.
And I give before everything. Show how much it's
Oh. Get account number.
Get the account number, get meter number. But there's no prepaid in this state.
This raid was not as peaceful as we had anticipated. In our investigation, we discovered that Gregg Michaels is in arrears for all 3 properties raided. As you can see, he owes 200,737 for the property in Newlands. For the first property in Roodepoort, he has an outstanding bill of 74,368 and 237,301 for the second property in Roodepoort. In total, for these 3 properties, Gregg Michaels owes 512,406 rand. The raid was conducted in peace in 2 properties. In the 3rd house, there was a surprise. Gregg Michaels' daughter, Genevieve, came through and not with a smile on her face.
No, but I want him off the property. He has got no right to be here. It's on my property. I own the property. I want them off. I'm not breaking it. I want them off my camera.
Leave the camera. The camera is not yours.
I want them off my property. I will leave it if they leave my property.
Just leave the camera.
Let them leave my property, then I will leave their stuff.
She was not impressed by our presence.
Get off my property. No, get off my property. No, I won't. No, because you want to be here. So I'll stand here.
Leave the camera so that they can go out. Leave the camera so
No, I
that
will
they can go out.
I'll go with you. No, I'll go with you.
Leave the camera.
Manela,
and
he's
go out.
taking the instruction from
Leave
you.
the camera.
Okay? So let's go. I'm waiting. No, I'm waiting. No, I'm waiting. I'm respecting. I need to respect the law. I respect the law. I don't need this.
We are not sure what law she respects because what has been happening in these properties is illegal.
For what? You don't even belong here. Get off. Get off. Get off.
Why are you so frustrated?
Get off my property.
Why?
You don't belong.
Why are you pushing people out?
Open this gate. Open this gate. I want with my.
No.
No. SABC will be sued. It's fine. Especially you in your own capacity. You know what?
We were not welcomed in the house because she wanted to stop us from exposing the illegal electricity connections. Little did she know that we had already captured a lot of evidence.
And then you tell me what problems they give you. The next time I see you on my property, be aware that I will have police on my side. Step on my property and you'll see what I do.
We are not sure what is meant by having the police on one side. While we were waiting, the father also came.
I'd like you to lock this woman up.
Lock her up
This
now.
woman here is creating problems. She sabotaged my business.
Don't fight, guys.
I'll break her now.
We will lock her.
What business is this that is stealing electricity?
I'll f***ing today for not threatening me.
No, if you are,
I'll f*** you up, I'm telling you, you don't know me.
Even though we were out in the street and no longer on the property, we were still harassed and insulted.
Protect!
He was to ask permission to record.
no, man.
You can't hear what? What paperwork? Where's your paperwork? Give me your paperwork. Give me that paperwork.
Where is your
Give me that
paperwork?
paperwork.
Where is your paperwork?
What is your name?
Paperwork for exposing illegal activities and telling the truth? Never heard of such.
What's your name?
Go get the people.
What's your name? What is your name? What is your name? I'm going to get you. You. I'm telling you,
My
I'm going to show
question
you.
is, where is
I
your
will show you who I
paperwork?
am.
Where is your paperwork?
No, she's got no right to f***ing be here. No right.
Trespass, you're not. You
Don't f***ing tell me to take it easy.
The arrogance that this man has, even after being exposed for breaking the law. There clearly is no remorse here. Attention is being diverted away from the alleged crime of stealing electricity.
Go to all my
No, he is
properties.
videoing us. No.
All this huffing and puffing because his illegal connections of electricity were exposed.
All of this woman. No, just so no.
I'm going to show her. I'm going to sue her for 25 million. Don't sit in your car, man. Hey, don't sit in your car. Hey, don't sit in your car. I'll f***ing show
She's
you.
a
Sue us for 25 million rand when he himself is costing the country millions with these illegal connections and further putting his tenants' lives at risk.
Dashka, wait. I want to ask him, why are you not videoing in Neilbrow? Why are you not videoing by the squatter camps? Why?
Contrary to popular belief, illegal electricity connections also happen in the suburbs.
The only thing you know is the SABC thing. That's why you guys get shot. That's why you guys get killed. Because you are starting gangsterism. Gangsterism. Mina. You want to share me?
When I share me? When I share me?
Come, start.
When I share me?
Come, I'll show you. I'll break your fucking blade.
If he is illegally connecting electricity, clearly he is not paying anything. While on the other side, his tenants are required to pay for electricity at his property.
Yeah, no, give it long to do. I patele mo takas. As a tsaya tšhelete mo bathong ka bogagapa. A patele mo takas le metsi.
On Thursday, 28 March, we made the front page of a small local newspaper. Gregg Michaels complained to the papers about the raid at his properties. In the article, he claims that he has a billing dispute with City Power and that the cut-offs were illegal. However, according to Yumna Sheikh, acting spokesperson at City Power, the statement is incorrect.
When City Power receives a tip-off regarding an illegal connection, part of the investigation process that we follow through prior to disconnections of any sort or sending a team out to site is to investigate also on the system whether there is a dispute lodged. We had interrogated all the information that we had received and there were no disputes or City Power-related disputes that were lodged on the system.
They even sent a video excluding all the insults that she was throwing at us. They clearly left out her colorful language.
I'm gonna suicide this, especially those one. Please, I want you off my property now.
Don't do me like that.
No, Joe. You stay on your own property. Go. My property now. I'm telling you now. Get off my property. I'll take this camera. Out now. No, move now. Get off my property. This is my property. No.
Then don't push me.
Get off my property.
Don't push me.
Get off my property.
Getting out of your property.
For what? You don't even belong here. Get off.
Why are you so frustrated?
Get off my property.
Why are you pushing people out?
Open this gate. I want it. No. Thank you. Get off this one. Out. You have got your right to be up. Thank you.
This is the unedited version we shot with our phone, and you can clearly see who was on the receiving end of the abuse.
Record that. Yeah.
Get off my property now. Move now. Get off my property. This is my property.
You're not gonna touch me.
No.
You're not gonna touch my property. Then don't push me.
Get my property.
Don't push me. Don't
Get
have to touch me.
off my property.
I'm not getting out of your property.
For what? You don't even belong here. Get off.
Why are you so frustrated?
Get off my property.
Why?
You don't belong.
Why are you pushing people out?
Open this gate. I want to my.
He further claims in the article that his daughter's arm was bruised by our cameraman. You can clearly see and hear that she was the one doing the pushing and wrestling with the camera.
I want them off. I'm not breaking it. I want them off my camera.
Leave the camera. The camera is not yours.
I want them off my property. I will leave it if they leave my property.
Just leave the camera.
Let them leave my property, then I will leave their stuff.
What actions have been taken ever since the raid was done to make sure that Mr. Michaels complies?
As part of our standard procedures when we disconnect customers, when the City Power team with the Metro officials visit the premises and we find that the property has been breached or a meter has been tampered with, a spot fine is issued by the officials from the Johannesburg Metro Police Department. There's also another fine which is issued by the city, which is a reconnection fine, and that is when the customer then applies for the reconnection, he has to pay that second fine.
Cutting Edge was then informed that the properties that were disconnected were reconnected again. Was City Power part of the reconnection?
City Power has not reconnected any of the properties as yet. We are in the process of doing that. There is a discussion happening between our legal department and the resident himself regarding the fines that were issued to him. City Power is in the process of investigating further in terms of the account details and that. The property owner has engaged with City Power, the legal department, and we are in the process of bringing the customer back onto the grid legally.
Up until now, it is not clear if there is really a fine for the illegal connection penalty by the City Power as they claim. As promised, the Gauteng Rental Tribunal had a site visit at Gregg Michaels' properties. They gave us a telephonic interview to share their findings.
Inspection on the 1st of April 2016. There was representatives from the tenants and there was representatives from the landlord. Right, we inspected the entire premises. We found that a lot of the toilets, especially the toilets and the bathrooms, the systems were not working. We also found that some of the toilets don't have toilet seats. We also find out that some of the toilets are not properly. We then indicated to him that he needs to make sure that the toilet seats are replaced, make sure that the system is working, and make sure that the drip stops.
150 plus koloi leon in another 150.
Now if you start saying to tenants you need to pay for your children, you are basically saying to those particular tenants that if you don't have the money, then your children cannot live with you, they need to go and get alternative accommodation. And that cannot be acceptable because that is not the purpose of the act, and on top of that, that amounts to an unconstitutional act, which is to break up families that should be living together. So we will obviously be stating in our ruling that this fee that they're charging per child is not acceptable and is contrary to the provisions of the Act, because the Act does say you must have a reasonable standard with regard to which you apply rental, but having obviously taken into account what is an acceptable rate within the area. But the charge for a child cannot be something that is then included in the rental. We have got cases whereby there's been charges for visitors. That we accepted, that's common code. But a charge of 150 rentals for a child per month is highly unacceptable and will not be condoned by the tribunal. What was also even more alarming in the context of this particular house was that they've got Wendy houses, and I'm sure as you know, Wendy houses are built from wood. And the tenants were complaining that in those Wendy houses they have electricity surges, and those electricity surges actually then cause damage to their appliances. Now we think that has a direct impact with regards to being a serious fire hazard. So it is quite urgent that we will then be going back to the premises with the people from the fire department to check whether or not there isn't a serious fire hazard. And if there is a serious fire hazard, then immediately the people who live in the Wendy houses will then have to be asked to vacate those Wendy houses.
And then one question, Mamutupi, is Mr. Michaels, the rent money that is charging his tenant, is that acceptable? The 1,800 to 2,000 rand?
What we will be doing is we will be putting in place what is called a remission of rental, meaning that those people who are still in occupation at the time when we give a ruling will be entitled to a discount in their rentals because they haven't had full use and benefit of those particular premises. For instance, I'll give you an example. With one of the units that we saw where there were no windows, there's no electricity, it's a very dark room, and this person is paying 1,700 rand. We really feel that that is far too excessive. If you have no windows, you're not getting electricity, your room is dark, it's damp, and there's also a leak, I forgot to say that, there's also a leak on the wall. That person cannot be expected to pay 1,700 rand. So in that one, we will be asking that he must give a 30% remission, meaning that he must take a discount of 30% on his rental from the date that person took occupation until the date of the ruling. And then we will give him timelines that going forward he needs to fix the defects within that particular unit. So in a nutshell, those are the issues that we have picked up, and we will be putting specific timelines in place as to when the landlord must actually have fixed all these issues that we're actually raising. And the time periods obviously differ in relation to the different defects, anything from 1 month to 3 months.